Hi there guys, welcome to page 2 of isometric circles. Here we're going to be discussing the construction of offset surfaces, and then we're going to be using those offset surfaces to once again draw our own isometric circles. Let's have a look. On our display over here we see in the background in light construction line that we have an isometric box. It is a cube in fact, and we're going to be having these each of these surfaces offset to the outside of the actual isometric cube. Let's see how we go about doing this. First of all, we're going to be needing the right line type to use, so we're going to be using a layer 1 on SolidWorks, which is actually known to be my construction line. Okay, let's change that. And we are dealing with a complete cube. So you'll obviously be using a construction line to be drawing this. Now that I have my original cube, which you can see in the background over here, we are now going to be taking our surfaces and creating an offset surface for each of these 3 surfaces that we can view. We're simply going to be constructing offset lines at 30 degrees. And if measurements aren't given, you may assume the measurements. Lovely. Right, so I'm going to zoom in over here. You can see that there are construction lines for each one from each corner. I'm going to do one side or surface at a time. I'm going to use a smart dimension tool over here, and I'm going to be distancing at about 25 millimeters away. We'll make that a constant for every one of these corners. Let me change this line type. Okay, it's very light at this very moment. Select this line, smart dimension it. Right. Right, now that we've taken each one of these lines and made them 25 millimeters apart, or as long as 25 millimeters, we're going to be simply joining the ends of our construction lines. Now this might be very easily said and done on the actual computer, but this is actually how easy it is in real life. When you're using a TD board and a set square, you're obviously going to be using your 30-degree set square, and you will be lining up your 30-degree set square with the end of this line and joining it up to that line over there. If they do not join accurately, you might have an angle issue, or your lines might not be 25, or let's say the same or equal. Each one of these lines will be done or drawn at 30 degrees, and then we'll also be working with vertical lines. Let's do the surface on this side over here. Yet again, you'll notice that I'm using my line tool. I'm going to be drawing at an angle. I've used 330 degrees because the computer has now read it as 360 minus 30, which will give me this line over here. It keeps it as a constant, ensures that I am drawing a line of 30 degrees. In your case, you'll be using a 30-degree set square, and you'll be constructing each one of these lines. Let's make sure that these lines are the same lengths apart, or at least the same lengths. We were using 25 before, so we'll just use 25 again on this side. Make sure that we have the correct angle. There we go. Each one of these lines are 25 millimeters long at 30 degrees. You might notice that the 30 degrees are going out down towards the left hand side, whereas this line is going down towards the right hand side. It's going to clear up the working area. Okay, and then we're simply going to be joining the ends of each one of these. You'll be doing it with a 30-degree set square, joining your 30-degree set square with your T-square. You'll be able to get the vertical lines at 90 degrees. These lines obviously need to be constructed. So I'm going to change this line type to a construction line. And we have our final answer. I'm going to be doing this third surface a little bit quicker. We're simply working with vertical lines here. Please remember that your lines will be constructed very nice and lightly. Each one of these lines, I'll make the same length. Just going to clear up the working area. And I'm going to be joining each one of these lines. That would be at 30 degrees. This will also be at 30 degrees. That will be at 30 degrees. And this last line will also be at 30 degrees. I need to change these line types as they need to be shown as construction lines. And there we go. We have now completed page 2. This was a demonstration of offset surfaces. Thank you for joining me.